Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Basic human rights I refer to as inalienable rights, rights that come from God. You know, when you get a car, the car has all of the instructions, the parts that's involved, the order in which they are put together, and how they are maintained, and what it really takes to keep it going. It has those instructions. You can understand that about a car, right? When your car breaks down, you take it to a mechanic. You expect for the mechanic to already have the knowledge like any doctor, or if not, be able to go and get the necessary information and do what needs to be done to keep that car running. Well, that's the same way that our bodies are. That's the same way God is. God has a plan for us in these bodies to live prosperous, joyously, as though we are in heaven. But there's a plan, there's a manual that comes with that. Some people refer to the manual as being the book. Others refer to the manual as being the heart that is guided by the Spirit. In any event, when you use the materials that are necessary to keep a car running, changing the oil, changing the transmission fluid, fixing all those, it continues to run good. You don't have to buy a car every year. And if you do, you can get good money for the one that you're trading in. Well, that's the same way it is with God. We have to utilize the principles that have been put forth for us to enjoy our lives by following that manual, and we can live, and we can enjoy this life, and we can live as though we are in paradise. The problem, my friends, is that in order to live as though you're in paradise on earth, you can't be doing that by yourself. Why? Because we as a people are connected. We are interconnected. We are one, supposedly. At least that's the way the manual calls for it. All of us energized by the one Spirit of God. You have heard it said that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Let me ask you, have you ever thought about what that meant? What did that actually mean? I know you've heard a whole bunch of stories coming from the lips of a bunch of preachers, but what did that actually mean to you? Well, many of you probably haven't thought about it. Let me see if I can help guide some thoughts on your mind. God had created this earth, put people here. People. Right? Right. And he supposedly, according to the scriptures, called some men to teach them the way of God. They failed. They failed. Abraham. You know Abraham. You've heard of him. There are others in between. You've heard of Moses. You've heard of Moses. You've heard of Noah. Now these you have really heard of, right? Right. And you've heard of others too. But they had all failed to do the job that God needed done for the people that he had created to live on this earth. They had completely failed. Completely failed. But God so loved you that out of all their failures, out of all the failures that they had contributed, today we still refer to those same people who had failed as if we're supposed to do better than the people who failed before, listening to these people. But that's what we do. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. That means, ladies and gentlemen, from the time that the creation was established until the time that Jesus Christ came on the face of this earth, all of those people in the Bible had failed. Every last one that God had called had failed. Every last one of them. These people were living in bondage. There was nobody to free them. There was nobody to tell them the truth. They were just talking. Talking. You say Abraham was about to sacrifice his kid and God told him to do it. You say all of these things were happening. Jacob's ladder. old folks having babies. But it didn't mean anything. Nobody knew how to put these things together. So God, and his love for his creation that he had made. So I gotta have somebody to go down and tell them the truth. I gotta have somebody to let them know that I love them. I got to have somebody to know that in my love is life, in my love is prosperity, in my love is joy, in my love is peace, in my love is heavenliness. I need somebody to go down that I can trust. A lot of you say he put himself in a body and called it Jesus and came down himself. Well, that's the point of that same old talking you've been hearing all the time. God created a son and sent him to this earth. His name was Jesus. It was not God. The only thing that was godly was the spirit that was in him. As you who are living are the sons of your fathers, because the blood that is in them are in you, or is in you. Make that your father. That blood makes that woman your mother. That spirit made Jesus the Son of God. And what did Jesus do? Jesus came down here and lived amongst the people. Why did he come to live amongst the people? To do what God sent him to do. To set the captives free. I mean, you know the story. But what happened? People couldn't take it. They didn't want it. I'm sure that the people could have. You know, the people follow anybody. They follow all these devils, the people do. And they were following Christ because of his miracles. Maybe somebody would have believed that he was the Son of God because of his miracles. But those who were here before Jesus and was here while Jesus was here, they didn't like that. Why? Because their message was more important than God's message. Their message was not about God. Their message was about themselves. And I'm sure that all of these years that I've been out here talking about God, the message that I've been bringing you possibly has been about me and not God. But I'm telling you now that the message that I bring to you is about God. Not about Jesus, but about God. And these people set up and slaughtered God's Son. And still, God would not leave you wondering. He raised him from the dead, showing the holes in his hands, showing the holes in his feet, said, I am the one that they put down, and I am the one that God raised. So you don't have to worry about what John said. You don't have to worry about Abraham. You don't have to worry about David. You don't have to worry about Samson. You don't have to worry about Nehemiah. You don't have to worry about any of these guys. Because I, Jesus, rose from the dead, which solidifies that God is God. But what happened after Jesus is gone? The world has gone to hell. I heard a preacher on the internet say one day that the most filthiest, low-down, hard, cold, ignorant, stupid, unloving people on the face of the earth are preachers. I already knew that. I have said it, but not like he said it. I mean, he really put him down. And I started to tell you his name so you can go on the internet and find out what he said, but I thought I wouldn't do that. Because he's not the only one. There are other people out there that's genuine about God. And you can tell them because most of them got 3 or 4 members in the church. Most of them got 3 or 4 members in the church. Why? Because people don't want to hear the truth. People just want to hear a lie that says you are protected. Oh, as long as you're in the realm of protection, then you're satisfied. And some preachers are so good they can make it seem as all of you are included. But where are you going? You're on a ship to hell. You go out and do some research other than this stuff that comes on the TV, other than this new stuff that comes on these major networks, other than this junk. Look for something other than that. Just look for something other than. And you will find out that the devil that was able to lie to Adam and Eve in the beginning has lied himself almost into power of the earth. And these preachers got up there every Sunday morning. Osteen. I use him because he's one of the biggest churches in this country. But there are others. Joyce Myers, Clive O'Donnell. Look at Eddie Long. Look at the Catholic bishops and priests. They can't stand up for God. They got too much devil in them. And those who want to stand up for God has some devil in them. And they don't care about the devil that they had in them because the devil has been eradicated from them. And they will stand up and give you the truth and don't care where it goes. How many members do I have in my church? I had 2. They were birds. They died. I don't want a member. I need some support if anybody wants to support this ministry, but I don't need a member. This is not about me. I'm not looking for a building to be paying the devil for rent. I'm not looking for a building that I got to pay the devil for electric lights. I'm not looking for a building that I got to pay the devil for heat. All of these things God has given to us. But you, in your blindness, in your stupidity, brought on by these preachers that have been talking for God, has substantiated that the devil is supreme. I come to tell you today that you're living in hell because the preachers have told you the stuff that would take you to hell. They have not known about God. They tell you that Jesus Christ died on the cross so you can be saved, and got you thinking that because he died, if you believe that he died, then when you die, he will receive you into heaven. That's a damn lie. Jesus Christ died on the cross because he stood for what was right. And his example to the world is if you want to love God, if you love God, then you will die on the cross rather than have that mansion up on the hill. You will die on the cross rather than have that Mercedes Benz. You will die on the cross rather than have hundreds of thousands of dollars in your bank account. You will die on the cross if you love God. Now, nobody tell you that. Why they won't tell you that? Because if they told you that, you would not put any money in the offering. Why wouldn't you put any money in the offering? Because you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. You want to hear that you saved. Everything is all right. So you can go out dancing and partying, and there ain't nothing wrong with dancing and partying. But that's all you want to do. And you want to do it in a way that God is left out. Satan is brought in. So you can strip, and you can gyrate and grind. There ain't nothing wrong with dancing. It's what's in the mind of those who's watching. And it's what's in the mind of those who are doing it. If it's art, it's art. People appreciate art. Somebody's watching and they get horny, that ain't your fault. That's their fault. That is a sign that they need to get closer to God. Now, I just had to tell you these things today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're not too upset, but if you are, thank God. Because this message was not for you. This message was for me. Bye-bye.